This is the Georgia Farm Monitor. Since 1966, your source for state and national agribusiness news, and features for farmers and consumers about Georgia's #1 industry, agriculture. The Georgia Farm Monitor is produced by the state's largest general farm organization, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now, here are your hosts, Ray DeLisio and Kenny Bergamy.
And with that, we say welcome to our home away from home. So glad you decided to join us for another edition of the Farm Monitor. As you can see, no Kenny today. He finally got tired of me. Just kidding. He'll be back next week, but despite his absence, we still have a great show for you. Coming up, with Georgia's tobacco harvest now in full swing, we hear from one grower on how the industry is dealing with some of the obstacles surrounding this year's harvest. Also on the program, what happened after a meeting between President Trump and Farm Bureau leaders regarding trade relations with China? Well, one of those leaders called the meeting, quote unquote, encouraging. Plus, if you've got some extra apples laying around, boy, do we have some incredible recipes for you. It's Meals from the Field, and it's all coming your way starting right now on the Farm Monitor. Heavy rains throughout the growing season have wreaked havoc on a number of different crops around the state, and tobacco is no exception, as both the yield and quality have been affected by the wet weather. Damon Jones has the story.
No matter how much time is spent planting, preparing the fields, and caring for the crop, farmers are always at the mercy of Mother Nature. And it was less than ideal for tobacco growers, as heavy rains have made this year's harvest a challenging one.
Well, we've had a pretty decent harvest season this year. I mean, everything moved along it. But like I said earlier, it's just been a challenging year. The fields have been wet, muddy, trying to get the crop out of the field. It's just been more difficult than normal.
This comes on the heels of a difficult growing season as well, where the wet conditions caused a moderate loss in the yield.
Well, for the most part, it's been a very challenging year this year for us because of the excessive rainfall we've had. From beginning to up until this point, we've been a good bit of tobacco that has been lost to the rainfall, had to be destroyed. That wasn't, valuable enough to carry on.
And it wasn't just the quantity that was affected, but also the quality, as the rains left some of the leaves in the field a little limp.
What is left in the fields that we have harvested throughout the year, the weight has been light on it because it washes the weight out of the leaves, and it makes the leaves deteriorate a lot faster. So you have a lot more burnt leaves that are undesirable for marketing, that we have to pick out on our picking lines and clean it up so it'll be of value to the companies.
Despite the obstacles, this year's crop is still a solid one, thanks in large part to growers making adjustments along the way.
We've had to do excessive fertilizing, go back with spoon feeding it periodically through the growing season, to try to carry it on, to make it, try to hold in the field for us to harvest it, because we can't harvest it just so many barns a day, and we've just been doing things to try to, make it stay.
While the crop is now out of the fields, that's far from the end of the work, as the tobacco leaves go through a rigorous 10-day process before they are ready to be shipped to the buyers.
Well, once we get it out of the field, we put it into curing barns, and we cure it and dry the leaf. And after we get it, the leaf cured out, we take it out and we unload it. Like I say, we hand grade it on the grading belts, and we bale it, 700 to 800 pound bales.
So while growers are looking forward to wrapping up this challenging growing season, it's also somewhat bittersweet.
It's like my daddy always used to say, when we finish, we're happy in one way for being through with the work, but in the financial way, we need another week of harvesting.
Reporting from Nashville, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
Damon, thank you so much. Checking out the ag headlines, State Farm Bureau leaders met with President Trump and Vice President Pence recently to express their concerns over trade and to hopefully get some reassurance from the administration as a whole. American Farm Bureau reports that President Trump's appearance was, quote unquote, not scheduled, but he did take the time to express his support for agriculture, a move AFBF Vice President Scott Vanderwall says shows a commitment to farmers and ranchers.
Well, they like to say that they really value agriculture and they know how important it is to our economy and our society. And I think by having this meeting and inviting us all there, they're showing that. and they are truly interested in what we think in agriculture, and they're truly interested in doing the right things.
We know that there's still work to be done, but with the Mexico deal pretty much done, we got assurances today that they believe Canada will be in line right along with Mexico. So with that being said, you know, they even mentioned the European Union, Japan, and possibly even China in the not too distant future. So I feel more positive.
In the meantime, we've all heard it before. Farming is not a job, it's a way of life. And that couldn't be true for one woman in Northwest Georgia who's been farming her entire life and raising her kids to appreciate agriculture. The Monitor's John Holcomb recently paid her a visit and has her story.
Meet Samantha King and her son Jared. Samantha is a farmer and a small business owner. She loves the farm life, where her and her husband raise cattle and also grow corn. You can definitely say it's a passion of hers, but after all, how could it not be a passion of someone that's been around farming her entire life?
My background with ag started from the moment I was born. I lived on a chicken farm my entire life, so farming is pretty much the only thing I ever knew. And so I was a chicken farmer from the time I was able to walk up until I went to college.
After a few years of working various jobs and on various farms, she met her husband Bruce and moved to their farm on the outskirts of Dalton and decided pretty quickly that the small little area needed something to brighten it up.
When I first moved out here, it was horrible. Like, it was very run down. It just looked really bad. So I told my husband, I said, I would love to help make this community look better, and I would love to bring some more revenue to this community.
And that she did. She decided to open a store called Southern Backroads. It was just a small little store that had clothes and jewelry, but it was something she really enjoyed.
I've always loved selling, so I originally started selling just out of my home, just with some basic jewelry and stuff.
Her store idea ended up being a success and really started to pick up. So much so that she decided it was time to expand into a new location that was bigger and where she could carry more stuff.
We bought the property, we started cleaning it off, and I told him, I said, I want to build a store here. And so luckily he went with my plan. We built a store, and it was originally just apparel at first, and then our customer base started coming in and saying, hey, we would love to see you carry feed out here for us.
As most businesses do, she did what the customers ask. She now carries feed, some of which is grown on their farm, tack, clothes, saddles, boots, and much more. What's even more amazing, she's not done expanding just yet.
There's construction all around the store, but we are filling in, we are grading, and hopefully sometime in the very near future we'll be adding a couple of new buildings, so we'll be able to expand more in our feed and then also supplies for all the farm animals.
She and her husband stay pretty busy. They run the store, run the farm, and somehow manage to take care of 2 kids. But it's something that she says she loves to do, and so she just does it.
I love to be able to grow my own product and provide food for my family. That is my favorite thing. I love to be able to grow our food for our cows, know exactly what's in it, where it came from, and then when we harvest that crop, I know that that feed is going to provide for our cows so that we can later eat them. And I love knowing where our food comes from. And I love being able to grow it. It's very satisfying to know you've grown your own food for your family.
Reporting in Dalton for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
John, thank you so much. Well, have you ever had apple salsa or apple brownies? If not, trust me, they are delicious. And after the break, we've got some recipes you'll definitely want to take note of.
My name's Cole Moon. I'm the UGA Extension Agent here in Bleckley County. I grew up on a small farm in Bleckley County. We own about 120 acres and rented some land. We rented the land out to some local farmers, and I started working with them when I was probably 15 or 16. My grandfather was a farmer, and I always kind of had an idea that I wanted to farm or at least be in agriculture. So I went to school, University of Georgia, got a degree in agribusiness, And coming back home, I went to work with now he's my father-in-law. He farms in Bleckley and Pulaski County. It's about 3,000 acres of row crop. And I'm new to the job, but my first goal is although I'm from Bleckley County, but I still want to get out and meet all the farmers. I've been trying to do that. Just build relationships with the farmers that I don't already know, and just really gain their trust so they'll pick up the phone and call me. And I know that's hard to do. Some counties have a strong agent presence, some don't. I'm trying to build that up here. What made me want to get into extension was I had the experience of on farm, and I really enjoyed it. I love farming, but also the best thing about extension for me is the research. And we've got such a valuable resource here at the University of Georgia. The research that we do, the specialists we have, and the county agents, the research that we do, we're kind of on the lead. And we're out in the field every day finding stuff, looking for disease, we're looking for insects, we're looking for stuff. What agriculture means to me is it's a way of life. When I think of agriculture, I think of farming. I know how much hard work goes into farming. I know the hours it takes, and it's not an 8 to 5 job, because it's a way of life.
Well, soon there will be a nice, cool, crisp to the air. Temperatures will fall, and so will those apples from those apple trees. As a matter of fact, as we speak, they are in the North Georgia mountains picking those apples for all of you to enjoy. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Georgia Farm Monitor and to another edition of Meals from the Field. Joining me as always, my dear friend Marcia Crowley. And yes, we love this time of year, Marcia, because it means apple pie. But guess what? We're not doing apple pie today. No, but we do have a lot of delicious recipes involving apples and some healthy recipes as well, which we always try to do.
We always try to do, and I always try to show the versatility of our products. Sometimes I feel like I get in a rut, but you know, I obviously like some of this stuff.
Yeah, but you can still spin it, so get us going. What do we have here?
All right, the first thing is an apple salad. And this salad, the reason I like it, it's got Georgia blueberries, Georgia strawberries, Georgia apples, 2 cups of Georgia apples. And it's got bananas, which I don't know of anywhere in Georgia that we grow bananas, but you know, they're still good in here. Okay, all that. You could cut that up ahead of time. All right, and the sauce that goes over it, this is the juice of 1 orange, which I know we don't grow. I don't think we grow citrus. We might in South Georgia.
We do in South Georgia. It's becoming a popular thing.
Okay. The juice of 1 lemon and 2 tablespoons of honey. And you can make all of this ahead of time except for the bananas. Don't put those in till you're getting ready to serve it, because they will turn.
Right.
And just pour that over the top of this. And this is really good. It's good for breakfast. If you wanted something brunchy, you just toss it with that.
And refreshing as well.
And refreshing healthy.
I could see this with sitting out on your front porch, watching your grandparents, do their thing with your grandkids, drinking some iced tea and eating some of this.
That sounds great to me. In a rocking chair.
In a rocking chair.
Yeah. Okay, so that is the fruit salad. Like I said, don't put the banana in until the very end.
All right. Oh, you can smell that honey too.
I know, it smells really good. All right, this is an apple salsa. I know we've done strawberry salsa and peach salsa, but why leave apples out?
Never had apple salsa before.
It's really, really good. All right, this is 2 cups of chopped apple, Georgia apple, of course. 1/4 cup of red bell pepper. 1/2 of a jalapeno pepper. And if you don't like jalapenos, I've said this before, you can substitute a green pepper or leave it out.
Okay.
Okay. 1/2 cup of chopped red onion or Vidalia, if you make this when they're in season.
Let's go Vidalia.
Yeah, let's do. And 1/3 cup of fresh cucumber. Kind of stir that up a little bit of cilantro. Got to have that in a salsa, whether you like it or not. You got to have that. All right, and then the sauce that goes over that, it's the juice of a lime, 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar, which is kind of different, but I love apple cider vinegar. You don't like vinegar? Uh-oh.
I've tried the concoction, the apple cider vinegar, for health reasons, and it's pretty tough to get down.
Well, you're doing it by itself. When you put honey in there, it's going to make a whole big difference. And then you're just going to pour this over the top. And I have served this with chicken and pork.
Okay.
It's very good. I don't know how it would be with the chips.
Right.
But chicken and pork, it's really, really good with. Cooked any way you like them. All right, and the last thing is an apple brownie, which tasted delicious. Very good. All right, I've already got in the bowl a stick of butter, which is half a cup, a cup of sugar, and an egg. So if you're on a diet, don't try this one. Okay.
Or just have a little bit.
Just a little teeny bite. All right, cup of chopped Georgia pecans, a cup and a half of chopped apples.
Okay.
And I originally tried this with 2 cups of apples and it did not set up. So make sure it's a cup and a half. It makes a big difference because of the moisture in the apple.
Right. Instead of sugar, could you use something like Equal or Splenda?
You could, and I don't know what to tell you the equivalent would be, but it's usually on the box.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it would taste as good, or
it would
not
taste
as good,
yeah,
but close
yeah.
to it. Okay.
All right, and this is the usual suspects: a cup of flour, baking soda, baking powder, and cinnamon. You just stir that in, and you're going to bake this at 325 in a 9x9 pan. The first time I made this the other day, I put it in an 8x8. I didn't measure it. It didn't turn out because the center did not get done, so that's very important.
Okay.
And this is really good with ice cream. And with this, you need a cooking apple like a Rome or Gala.
Gala, okay.
Yeah, you need a cooking apple. The other, it doesn't matter, but with this, you do need a cooking apple.
And what order do you recommend eating all these dishes? Can you start with the brownie?
It doesn't matter.
I'm kidding.
It doesn't matter.
Hey folks, whatever order you want to eat this meal, you can do so by and getting all the recipe ideas by logging on to farm-monitor.com. As we say every month, everything is there for you in detail. You have no excuse to be 100% successful with these recipes. Marcia does such a great job.
I try to make it easy.
She does. She makes it very easy. So go on there, enjoy those recipes, and after you make it, enjoy these dishes. Marcia, as always, enjoy having you. Of course, it happens all the time. My wife's name is Martha, so I accidentally call you Martha.
I don't even notice anymore.
Yeah, I've called you Marcia. But anyway, Marcia, so good to see you again, and we shall see you next month.
Hi, I'm James Vaughn, and I'm owner and operator of Vaughn Farms. Operated along with my wife and sons. We have about 400 full-blood Angus mother cows and the calves that go with them. And we background those calves and ship them into Iowa, where they ultimately go into a European export trade after they're fattened in southwest Iowa. We also have a commercial hay business. We farm about 240 acres of sprig Bermuda grass and market high-quality Bermuda grass in small bales to horse producers, mostly wholesale. And we also have commercial timberland tracts that some are plantations and some are natural stands. The natural stands are mostly sold for lumber and building products, and the planted stands are mostly on short rotations, which are sold for pulp and increasingly for energy products. I grew up on the farm just a couple hundred yards from where we're standing and was raised helping with the cattle and baling hay. We did a lot of custom hay baling when I was a teenager for friends and family. My father started this farm. He moved here in 1932 and actually acquired some of the first land in 1942. We've continually expanded since that time, where today we're farming, I think his initial acquisition was 108 acres, and today on this place we're farming a little better than 1,200 acres. We have embraced technology every way, from the bundles of hay that we make that avoid the hand labor to the record keeping for the cattle. Since 1999, every time we've touched a cow with a medical treatment or anything, it's in my computer. We have electronic EIDs in all the cattle, especially the feedlot cattle that get shipped to Iowa. They're tracked, a spreadsheet goes with them with their individual Georgia data, and once they're harvested, that data, the harvest data, the size of the ribeye muscle, the grade and yield, all the particulars are populated in that spreadsheet and sent back to us to help us continually improve. The secret to success is like any farm, it's hard work and perseverance and staying with it day after day. But my father blessed us with a really fine herd of Angus cattle, and we hope we've improved them. And he also blessed us with some pasture land that had been well managed and designed to operate well. And we've built on those ideas and expanded from them. I just enjoyed the rhythm of it and the order. The good Lord has put an order into nature, and if you pay attention to it, it's a very calming, relaxing thing. My other job, commercial litigation, not too calm, and so I like to be able to come out and just look at the cattle and the farms and the work, and it's just very satisfying.
Finally this week, given that we are in the 21st century, many farmers have turned to drones to fly over and to view crops. The technology always changing, including the sensors that attach to the drones and provide valuable information. Charles Denny shows us how an overhead eye keeps plants healthy and improves yields.
Agriculture values a view from above. Planes, satellites, and in modern times, drones are used to look at crops. But way beyond grabbing cool shots for social media, this drone is attached with what's called a multispectral sensor. The sensor detects light reflected off plants at various wavelengths, providing useful information.
And light will be reflected back from anything on the earth. And everything on the earth has its own, we call it a spectral response curve. So a healthy plant, the spectral response will look different than an unhealthy plant.
Well, now with these types of sensors and the technology we have, we can grid survey these fields so that we can get an entire picture.
Sean Butler is working on his PhD with UTIA's Herbert College of Agriculture and says the drones with multispectral sensors helps a cotton plant tell you how it's feeling.
If you're trying to find something before it happens, if you're trying to detect water stress before we would visually see it, yeah, at that point you're going to need something that our eye can't see, and we have infrared sensors or red edge types of sensors that can pick up those different spectral wavelengths that we don't see visually.
Drones have been used in agriculture pretty much since they were first invented. It's a great way to get an aerial view of a field and to see where there might be weak spots in a crop.
Early detection of plant stress is critical to saving yields, and the pinpoint accuracy of a drone sensor can help there.
That information can give us where we should be applying a pesticide, for example. So maybe there's a weed infestation only in one area of the field. So even if it just gives us that spot, that location, we could have a crop scout go there and see, is it a weed, is it a bug, is it a fungus, and then we know we can go spot spray in that location and not have to spray the whole field.
As for the future, look for better camera resolution and even more accurate and sensitive sensors. Drones will likely become common tools in ag, provided the costs come down a bit more. Helpful technology that's flying high. This is Charles Denny reporting.
Great stuff. Thank you, Charles. Well, unfortunately, that's going to do it for this week's edition of the Farm Monitor. And don't forget, for all your latest ag info regarding food, great recipes, and what's happening down on the farm, be sure to check out our Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest pages. You'll stay informed and see what's up in the world of farming and with us at the show. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next week right here on the Farm Monitor. Kenny will be back.